calling it Barbie Dream Fest, Barbie Nightmare Fest. Like this has been a disaster. Pictures are coming online, videos are coming online. Angel Reese spoke. Nobody showed up. Nobody was there. It was a complete and total failure. Look at this headline, folks. Look at this headline. We'll get to Angel Reese in a second. Barbie Dream Fest, quote,
Barbie Fest, described as essentially a Comic-Con for Barbie enthusiasts, turned into one of the more embarrassing public events in recent memory. The convention featured a lineup of notable guest speakers, including Serena Williams and Angel Reese, drew considerable attention ahead of time, and then proceeded to fall apart in spectacular fashion once doors opened. Online, people started calling it Barbie Nightmare Fest almost immediately, with photos and videos flooding in that painted a grim picture of what attendees actually walked into. Angel Reese took the stage and delivered a speech centered on resilience, talking about turning setbacks into fuel and being grateful for the full range of experiences life brings, both the difficult and the rewarding.
Second. Barbie Dream Fest, quote, nightmare. I mean, people paid like $1,000 for 3 days of this crap. For a pass. Look at this. Look at that. Nobody. Nothing. And look at the booths. Pathetic. Some people are calling this a fraud job. All right? A fraud job. Check this.
She encouraged the women in attendance to keep dreaming big and to trust that their goals are reachable. The message was genuine. The problem was the room. Footage from the event showed vast stretches of empty floor space around her, with only a handful of people present.
All right, a fraud job. Check this out. Here's Angel Reese right here at this event, actually speaking.
Take every L on the chin and turn it into a positive and make it a blessing. I'm just so happy and grateful and graceful that I was able to experience everything in life that I have experienced, from the negative to the positive, because it has shaped me into the woman that I am today. I wouldn't be able to be here and be able to experience these things without those moments.
The echo in the venue said everything. Not enough bodies in the building to absorb any of the sound. Attendees who posted on Reddit described the experience as an immediate disappointment. One person wrote about purchasing a 3-day pink pass for $300, booking a hotel for another $600, and arriving to find something that looked nothing like what was advertised. When that person went to guest services and asked whether this was all there was, the staff member replied that they had been getting that question all day.
Without those moments, and I wouldn't change anything. So I'm really grateful and graceful, and I hope you women just continue to dream big, have goals, know that you can do anything you put your mind to. You are next. You are the boss.
Okay, that's enough. That was posted by the Palm Beach Post. That video, folks, and yikes. Angel Reese needs a new team because what the F? She's a speaker and basically no one showed up.
Several people who made the trip described the event as chaotic to navigate and visually sparse once inside. The Barbie Dream House centerpiece turned out to be a cardboard display structure with a VW wagon with the doors closed so visitors could not actually enter. Everything else on the floor was spread thin across open space, giving the whole thing a hollow, unfinished feel. Some attendees have used the word fraud in connection with the event, and reports suggest that lawsuits are being discussed by people who traveled specifically for the convention and felt they received essentially nothing in return.
And basically no one showed up. This is wild. Look at this one. There's going to be this one dude standing at the front right here. Look at this guy. And then all this space right here. Nobody's there. Nobody is there. Look at this place.
Would have been able to skate in there. This was their Barbie dream house, a cardboard standing box with a VW.
The general consensus from those who attended is that the event was a total mismatch between what was sold and what was delivered. From a reputation management standpoint, the situation raises questions about who is handling Angel Reese's bookings and public appearances. Being attached to an event that generates this kind of backlash, one where people are openly debating legal action against the organizers, is not a small thing. Reese herself delivered a composed and thoughtful speech under the circumstances, but the optics of speaking to a near-empty room at a convention that the internet is mocking as a nightmare is a difficult image to shake.
There. This was their Barbie dream house, a cardboard standing box with a VW wagon. It would have been nice, but the doors were closed, so you couldn't even go inside of it. As you can see, everything else was just spread out, open, very empty, very scarce, and it was just fee after fee.
Wow. Wow. Guys, let me just point it out before we keep going.
The people managing her schedule and public presence may need to apply stricter vetting to the events they agree to, because this particular situation reflects poorly, regardless of how well she carried herself on stage. Serena Williams, also listed as a guest speaker, reportedly fared no better in terms of attendance. The crowd situation appears to have been consistent across the event rather than isolated to any one speaker's portion of the program.
Let me just point it out before we keep going. If Caitlin Clark spoke at an event, we've seen events she speaks at, packed houses. Packed houses. Serena Williams, nobody showed up for her either. Look at this. We paid $250 per pass. Barbie Dream Fest is a nightmare. Look at this. I mean,
the people managing Angel Reese's public appearances need to take a harder look at how those bookings are being handled and promoted. The issue is not Angel Reese herself, it is the execution around her. When Caitlin Clark shows up to a golf event, thousands of people turn out.
Now, guys,
that's wild. Look at this, folks. I mean, what is happening? Look, this is where Angel was speaking at, right here, right here. They ain't nobody down there. Nobody. Look at what? What?
The expectation for Reese does not need to be that scale, but the number should not be in the single digits either. A properly advertised appearance with even a loose connection to basketball or her brand should be pulling hundreds of attendees at a minimum. The Barbie Dreamfest situation was not a good look. Though the event itself was a disaster independent of anyone on the guest list, people were purchasing 3-day passes for hundreds of dollars and arriving to find a near-empty venue.
I don't know why. Like, I understand why she's there, but I'm like, and no one went to this festival in the first place. But like, it doesn't look great when Angel Reese is going to her speaking arrangement and there is a person giving the person beside her water. It's kind of all you're getting. And it's not even on her, because like, I've seen Angel Reese. It's like in Iowa, it's like in Indiana.
The broader problem is that this kind of outcome keeps happening around Reese's off-court appearances. Earlier in the Indiana Fever season, there were moments where she was being featured at events already filled with fans wearing Caitlin Clark jerseys, and the mismatch was obvious to everyone watching. Someone in her circle keeps putting her in situations that are either under-promoted, misaligned with her actual fan base, or both.
Seen Angel Reese. It's like in Iowa, it's like in Indiana, when they just kept having Angel Reese get out of a car. There'd be a load of fans there in Caitlin Clark jerseys cheering, and then Angel Reese would just hop out of a car, and they would be like, "Oh yeah, take over your trap." And I'm like, what is the point of this? Like, I mean this, if there was anything even slightly basketball related or anything related with Angel Reese and they advertised it properly, she'd get at least 100 people there. It would at least be in the...
The distinction between social media reach and real-world draw is something a lot of public figures and the teams managing them consistently underestimate. Reese has millions of followers across platforms and is genuinely recognizable on a global scale, particularly within the United States. That is not nothing.
100 people there. It would at least be in the hundreds. Maybe not in the thousands or tens of thousands, but like, people in the hundreds will show up to see Angel Reese. And it is like a zero people You see her promoting anywhere, somewhere paid her, she showed up, got money. And that's the thing. Not only that, like, why did the people that were promoting this not promote it more? It got.
But the percentage of social media followers who will physically travel to see someone in person is dramatically smaller than most people expect.
This not promote it more. It's just weird. It just feels weird looking at it because I'm like, Angel Reese is Angel Reese is a global star. She is a global star. No matter what anyone wants to say, she is a global star. Like, she is somebody that is known quite a lot around the world. Obviously, way more known in America than anywhere else. Way more known than anywhere else in America. Not quite as big as Caitlin Clark outside of America.
None of that erases what she has built. The Vogue cover happened. The shoe collaboration has moved product and reportedly sold out at various points.
More known than anywhere else in America. Not quite as big as Caitlin Clark outside of America. And the gap outside of America between the two of them is quite big. And obviously, look, this is something called the Barbie Dream Fest. This is the correlation of Angel Reese of basketball fans that will be showing up to Barbie Dream Fest is quite low. But also, there were 12-year-old girls showing up to golf events to see Caitlin Clark. And it is just to show that there is this massive.
Her overall brand presence over the past couple of years reflects someone who has been doing a lot of things right in the commercial space. WNBA games draw real crowds to watch her play, and that is a meaningful baseline. The off-court appearance problem is a specific, fixable issue, not a verdict on her entire profile.
Oh, that there is this massive gap there's this absolutely massive gap in terms of, I'm not even going to say popularity, because social media popularity and actual popularity are two different things, are two different metrics, but they do matter. In terms of social media popularity, there is definitely a comparison between the two of them. Like, we've seen it in Instagram followers, albeit Angel's more active on that app, but we've seen it in Instagram followers.
What makes the pattern strange is that it keeps repeating. The All-Star period produced similar moments of thin crowds and awkward optics. Each time, it appears someone in her orbit has advised her that a particular appearance or event is worth her time, and each time the result is a half-empty room or a crowd that is more curious bystander than dedicated fan.
On that app, but we've seen it in Instagram followers. You see it in some of the social media things that, like, she is big, but it's like, I've always say this, where it's like there is like different kind of levels of celebrity, where it's like you can be big, like, being big on social media doesn't necessarily translate to people showing up to see you in person. And I think a lot of people kind of miscalculate that. A lot of social media influencers really miscalculate how many people.
Whether the problem is the booking choices, the promotion strategy, or a mismatch between the type of events being selected and the actual demographic of people who follow her closely is worth examining. If the appearance fees are substantial and there is a reasonable chance some of them are, then the financial logic may still hold even when the optics do not. Caitlin Clark has shown up to low attendance speaking engagements as well, but those rooms tend to be filled with executives and high net worth individuals, which changes the entire framing of the event.
Miscalculate how many people will go see them if they're only like fans of them behind a screen. How many of those people will go see them in person? And the number is a lot lower than people think, and it is kind of crazy. That being said, I'm not saying she's only a social media influencer. There are tens of thousands of people that go to see her play every single game in the WNBA season. Like, a lot of people go and watch her play in the WNBA, and
the Dreamfest situation carried none of that cover. It was a public-facing consumer event, and the emptiness was visible and documented widely online. That is a different kind of exposure, and not a useful one.